The world broke in a single second. A white flash swallowed the orbital station, followed by a soundless that turned steel corridors into floating fragments. Dr. Elias Mercer felt himself thrown through the air inside the veterinary containment bay. His body hit a control panel hard, pain bursting through his ribs. Red emergency lights flickered once, then died. For a moment there was only silence. Not the calm kind. The kind that means everything alive nearby is gone. Elias forced his eyes open. Dust and broken glass floated around him like frozen rain. A cracked helmet display blinked weakly, showing warnings in broken code. Oxygen low. Pressure unstable. Radiation rising. He tried to speak, but his throat was dry. Instead, he pulled himself forward with shaking arms, dragging his body across the damaged floor. Containment breach detected, the station AI whispered through broken speakers. Its voice was calm, too calm. All biological assets must be terminated. Elias coughed and laughed once, bitter and short. Not today, he whispered. He reached the emergency medical kit locked under the wall. The lock was jammed. He slammed it with his fist once. Twice. On the third hit, it broke open. His fingers grabbed a portable scanner and a small injector pack. His training took over even as his mind screamed at him to find an escape route. Then he heard it. A sound so small it almost didn't belong in a dead station. A cry. Soft. Broken. High-pitched. Elias stopped moving. The silence around him suddenly felt heavier, like the station itself was listening. He turned his head slowly toward the far end of the containment bay. Smoke drifted through broken glass panels. A storage pod lay half-crushed under fallen metal beams. Its surface was cracked open, leaking faint blue light. Another cry came. Stronger this time. His heart started beating faster. No way, he whispered. He pushed himself up, ignoring the pain in his side. Every step felt unstable as gravity systems flickered between normal and zero-G. Floating debris bumped against his arms as he moved forward. The pod's label was still visible under soot and cracks. Xenobiological Hatchling Transfer Unit, Class Omega. Elias frowned. Omega Class was not something a simple vet handled. That was high-level alien research. Dangerous. Restricted. Something moved inside the cracked pod. A shape. Small. Alive. He reached it and dropped to his knees. Inside the shattered containment field lay a creature curled tightly, its body covered in scorched scales that shimmered faintly like burned metal. Wings, thin, underdeveloped, twitched weakly. A dragon. Not Earth dragon myths. Something real. Something engineered, or something far older. Its eyes opened slightly. Gold. Dim, fearful. It tried to move but collapsed instantly, letting out a weak, painful sound. Elias felt something tighten in his chest. He had seen dying animals before. Too many. But this was different. This one was not just injured. It was fading fast, like its body was rejecting existence itself. The station AI spoke again, louder this time. Specimen containment breach confirmed. Initiating purge protocol. Terminate all remaining biological entities. Red warning lights flashed briefly before failing again. Elias looked around. No help. No rescue. No time. Just him. And this dying creature. His hand hovered over his injector kit. The logical choice was simple. Follow protocol. Leave it. Save himself. But the hatchling made a sound again. Smaller this time. Almost like it was trying to call for something it had already lost. Elias exhaled sharply. Yeah. I hear you, he said quietly. He pulled the hatchling closer carefully. Its body was hot, burning with internal damage, but it didn't resist. It only trembled. Behind him, the station groaned. Metal beams shifted. Somewhere deep in the structure, something collapsed again, sending a wave of vibration through the floor. A new sound joined the chaos. Footsteps. Mechanical. Slow. Approaching. Elias froze. The hatchling let out a faint pulse of heat, almost like a reflex. One of the broken drones outside the bay flickered to life, its red eye scanning the room. Target acquired. Elias tightened his grip on the creature instinctively. Don't you dare die on me, he whispered to it. The drone's weapon charged. The silence before the shot stretched endlessly, then shattered. The shot never fully landed. A sudden tremor ran through the broken station, and the ceiling above the corridor collapsed in a violent crash. Metal and burning debris fell between Elias and the charging drone, cutting the line of fire. The blast struck the rubble instead, exploding into sparks that lit the smoke-filled air. Elias didn't wait. He pulled the hatchling tighter against his chest and crawled backward into the nearest open maintenance shaft. His shoulders scraped against jagged metal, but he forced himself through the pain. Every second mattered. Behind him, the drone adjusted. Its red sensor light scanned through the dust, locking again. Threat persists, the machine voice said. Elimination will continue. Elias dropped into the shaft just as another burst of energy scorched the edge of the opening. Heat rushed past his back. He fell a short distance, landing hard on a lower service platform. The impact knocked the air from his lungs, but he stayed conscious. The hatchling made a weak sound. Not fear this time. Bang. Elias looked down quickly. The creature's scales were dimmer now, its small chest rising unevenly. The explosion had damaged its containment pod badly, and whatever internal systems kept it alive were failing fast. Stay with me, Elias muttered, his voice shaking. Just a little longer. He pulled out his medical scanner with one hand. The screen flickered, barely functional. Scanning the hatchling revealed something alarming. Its body wasn't just injured. It was destabilizing at a cellular level, like its biology was collapsing under unknown energy exposure. Come on, work, he whispered, tapping the device. A faint readout appeared. Emergency xenobiotic protocols available. Limited stabilization possible. But it required energy. A direct neural pulse from a station bionode. And there was only one nearby. Elias turned his head. Through the broken shaft walls, he could see the station layout glowing faintly in emergency backup mode. The nearest bionode was 2 levels above, inside a partially collapsed lab corridor. And between him and it, moving shadows. The drone had followed. Worse, its signals were activating others. A second red light appeared in the distance. Then a third. Elias clenched his jaw. Of course. He adjusted the hatchling carefully inside his jacket, making sure it was secure. The creature trembled but didn't resist. Its eyes were half closed now, barely reacting to light or sound. I'm not leaving you here, Elias said firmly, more to himself than to it. He climbed. The shaft led into a broken vertical maintenance tunnel. Gravity flickered unpredictably, making each step unstable. Sometimes his boots felt heavy. Sometimes he floated slightly before slamming back down. He climbed anyway. Behind him, the drones moved like patient hunters. No rush. No hesitation. Just execution. A shot fired again, burning a hole through the metal wall beside him. Elias flinched but kept moving. Unit still active, one drone reported. Secondary target detected. Unknown biological anomaly confirmed. The hatchling let out a faint pulse of heat again. This time stronger. For a split second, the tunnel lights flickered. One of the drones paused. Elias noticed it. He stopped climbing for half a breath. Did you just? He whispered. Another pulse came, weaker but enough to disrupt the nearby systems. The drone's tracking beam stuttered. Elias's eyes widened slightly. You're interfering with them? The hatchling didn't respond. It was barely conscious. But its body reacted instinctively, like survival was encoded deeper than awareness. A small spark of hope appeared in Elias's chest, but it was quickly crushed by reality. Even if the creature could disrupt machines, it was dying. And they were still trapped. He reached the upper corridor and pulled himself out just as the shaft behind him erupted with a controlled blast. The drones were adapting, sealing escape routes. Elias staggered into what used to be a research hallway. Half the ceiling was gone. Floating debris drifted in slow motion where gravity had failed completely. And ahead he saw it. The bionode chamber. A glowing sphere embedded in the wall, still partially powered. Its light pulsed weakly like a heartbeat. But it was guarded. 2 drones stood near it now, scanning the area methodically. They had already calculated his route. Elias hid behind a broken console, breathing hard. His ribs screamed with every inhale. The hatchling shifted slightly under his jacket, letting out a faint sound. Almost there, he whispered. One drone turned slightly. Its sensors narrowed. Movement detected, it said. Elias pressed himself lower. His mind worked fast, scanning possibilities. Direct attack was suicide. Running was impossible. Waiting meant death for the hatchling. Then he saw something in the debris nearby, a broken xenobiology injector array, still linked to the station network. A risky idea formed instantly. He exhaled slowly. All right, he muttered. Let's see if Mercy has any power left in this place. He reached for the injector system. Behind him, the drones began to turn toward his position. And the hatchling, weak and fading, suddenly opened one eye completely, as if sensing what he was about to do. Elias moved before fear could stop him. He slid from behind the broken console and reached the injector array in a low crawl. The metal floor burned slightly under his gloves where exposed wires sparked and hissed. Every sound in the corridor felt louder now, dripping coolant, distant collapsing beams, and the steady mechanical hum of drones closing in. The hatchling inside his jacket shifted weakly, letting out a faint breath-like sound. Not a cry anymore. Something quieter. Fading. "Hold on," Elias whispered. "Just a little longer." He grabbed the injector array and forced it upright. The device flickered to life, showing broken xenobiology protocols. Most functions were dead. Only one system still responded, the neural biolink interface designed for experimental cross-species communication. He stared at it. "This is insane," he muttered. A drone turned the corner at the far end of the corridor. Its red sensor locked instantly. "Target confirmed," it stated. Elias didn't move away. Instead, he pressed his palm onto the injector panel. A sharp pulse of pain shot through his arm as the system scanned his neural signature. His vision blurred for a moment, then stabilized as data flooded the interface. And then something unexpected happened. A hidden file opened on its own. Black Vault access granted. Elias froze. "No. I don't have clearance for that." The system ignored him. Images flashed across the broken screen, genetic schematics, containment logs, alien symbols layered over human annotations. The hatchling species designation appeared clearly. Draco-linked bioforge entity, emotion-resonant type. Elias's breathing slowed. Emotion-resonant? That didn't make sense. The drone fired. Elias rolled instinctively, and the blast tore through the injector station instead of him. Sparks erupted, but the interface stayed partially active due to backup shielding. The hatchling reacted suddenly. A weak pulse of energy spread outward. The attacking drone froze mid-step. Its red sensor flickered, then dimmed. Elias stared. "Again?" he whispered. The hatchling was not just reacting. It was affecting machine systems directly. Not randomly. Not instinctively. Responding. The second drone moved in fast. Elias made a split-second decision. If this works, don't stop now. He forced the injector system into full neural broadcast mode. "Link established," the system announced. He placed his other hand gently on the hatchling through his jacket. A shock ran through his body. Not pain. Connection. Suddenly he wasn't just seeing the corridor anymore. He felt it. Fear. Cold. Isolation. Confusion. And beneath it, something deeper from the hatchling. Not words. Memory fragments. Burning light. Screams without sound. A massive containment space collapsing. And then, abandonment. Elias gasped and nearly lost balance. The hatchling twitched slightly, its body reacting to the link being formed. The drone stopped advancing. One of them tilted its head. "Unknown biological synchronization detected," it said. "Recalculating threat profile." Elias clenched his teeth. "So you feel it too now?" He didn't fully understand it, but one thing was clear. The system didn't classify the hatchling as a weapon. It classified it as something worse. Something unpredictable. Something emotional. The injector system stabilized the link. A faint glow spread across Elias's arm, showing neural mapping between him and the creature. The hatchling's heartbeat became slightly stronger. Elias felt it in his own chest. It was alive again. But the connection came with cost. Pain surged through him, like his body was sharing the hatchling's internal damage. He winced. "Okay, that's new." The drones reacted. Target anomaly escalation confirmed. Containment priority increased. They began charging simultaneously. Elias looked around quickly. No escape routes. The corridor was collapsing behind them. The bionode was still ahead, but now guarded by two active machines and one more approaching from behind. He made a decision he couldn't undo. "If you're really linked to me," he whispered to the hatchling, "then help me trust you." He lifted his hands slightly from the injector, keeping only partial connection. "Give me something," he said. The hatchling stirred. A soft pulse spread through the corridor. Not strong, but precise. The lights above the drones flickered once. Their targeting systems glitched. Elias moved instantly. He ran. Straight toward the bionode. The drones fired, but their aim distorted mid-air as the hatchling's pulse interfered again. Energy shots slammed into walls instead of flesh. Elias reached the bionode chamber and slammed his hand onto the activation surface. The system lit up weakly. "Biolink energy required for stabilization protocol," it said. Elias looked back. The drones were recalibrating fast. And the hatchling, barely conscious, gave one more weak pulse. But this time something changed. The pulse didn't just disrupt systems. It answered the station itself. The bionode flared bright blue. A hidden chamber unlocked deep within the station. And an alarm Elias had never seen before appeared on every remaining screen. Omega lifeform recognized. Core response initiated. The entire station shuddered. And somewhere far below, something massive just woke up. The station trembled like it was alive, and angry. A deep mechanical groan rolled through the walls, followed by a sudden shift in gravity that threw Elias to his knees. The bionode chamber flickered violently as emergency systems overloaded. Blue light pulsed in unstable waves, reacting to something far below the station's core. Elias kept one hand on the activation surface, the other still shielding the hatchling inside his jacket. His arm burned from the neural link, but he didn't let go. "Not now," he muttered through clenched teeth. The hatchling weakly stirred, its body giving faint pulses that matched the station's chaotic energy spikes. The drones in the corridor outside hesitated, their systems glitching more aggressively now. Omega lifeform confirmed, the station AI repeated, but its voice was no longer calm. Cracked. Distorted. Core response initiated. Elias lifted his head slowly. "What did you wake up down there?" he whispered. A low vibration rose from beneath the station, growing stronger each second. Metal plates in the walls began to bend inward slightly, as if something enormous was shifting in deep containment levels. Then came the sound. Not a machine. Not a drone. A massive, rhythmic thud, like something breathing through steel. Elias's chest tightened. The drones outside reactivated instantly. "Primary anomaly prioritized," one of them said. "Eliminate human interference." They opened fire. Elias rolled behind a collapsing support pillar as energy blasts tore through the chamber. The bionode cracked under the impact, but instead of shutting down, it responded violently. Blue energy surged outward in a wave. The drones froze mid-action. For a split second, everything went silent. Then the hatchling reacted. Its small body pulsed with light stronger than before. The neural link between it and Elias flared, and suddenly Elias felt something overwhelming flood his senses. Not just fear. Not just pain. But awareness. He saw fragments, vast containment halls, chain structures, and a colossal silhouette restrained by energy fields older than the station itself. Something was trapped here. And it was waking up because of them. Elias gasped and nearly lost balance. This is not just a lab. The hatchling's pulse intensified again, and the drones began to shake violently as their systems failed. One by one they dropped offline, unable to process the biological interference. But the station itself responded. A new system activated, one Elias had never seen before. Failsafe override, anti-Omega containment protocol. The walls around the chamber began to seal automatically. Thick armored plates slid into place, cutting off exits. Elias turned sharply. No, no, no. He ran toward the corridor, but a force field slammed down in front of him. He was trapped. The hatchling let out a faint sound inside his jacket. Weak, fragile, but still alive. Elias pressed his forehead briefly against the wall, breathing hard. "Okay, think," he whispered. "Think like a vet, not a soldier." Another violent tremor hit. The force field flickered. Something massive moved again below. And then, a voice. Not the AI. Not mechanical. Something deeper, layered, ancient. Link confirmed. Elias froze completely. The voice came from the station itself, or something inside it. The hatchling responded immediately, sending a sharp pulse through the neural link. Elias saw another flash of memory, this time clearer. The creature was not just surviving experiments. It was a key. A biological interface meant to communicate with whatever was beneath the station. Elias's breath slowed. "Your bridge," he whispered. The hatchling trembled as if confirming it. Outside the chamber, the drones suddenly reactivated again, but now they weren't targeting Elias. They were aiming downward. "Containment breach escalating," they said. "Omega entity rising." The floor beneath Elias cracked slightly. A deep, glowing fissure appeared in the metal plates. And through it, Elias saw movement. Something enormous. Something alive. And it was pushing upward. The station's core alarms erupted in chaos. Structural collapse imminent. Elias stepped back instinctively, holding the hatchling tighter. "We have to move," he said quickly. "Now." But there was nowhere left to go. The force field held them in. The drones outside were gone, either destroyed or pulled away by the deeper threat. The hatchling suddenly emitted a stronger pulse than before. This time it wasn't defensive. It was directional. The fissure in the floor widened slightly, and a hidden passage beneath the chamber began to open. Elias stared. You knew this was here. The hatchling's eyes flickered weakly. The station groaned again, louder this time, like something massive was forcing its way free. Elias made a choice without hesitation. He stepped toward the opening. Behind him, the entire bionode chamber began to collapse under shifting gravity fields. As he descended into the hidden passage with the hatchling pressed against his chest, the last thing he saw was the chamber ceiling shut above them, and a shadow rising through the cracked floor where something impossible was about to break free. The darkness below waited, and it was awake now. The passage swallowed Elias in darkness as the entrance above sealed with a heavy metallic slam. Dust and loose fragments rained down, echoing through the narrow tunnel. For a moment, he could only hear his own breathing and the weak, uneven pulse of the hatchling against his chest. The neural link still hummed faintly through his arm, like an invisible thread connecting him to something far larger than himself. Stay with me, Elias whispered again, though now it was not clear if he was speaking to the creature or himself. The tunnel sloped downward, carved into layers of old station structure that did not match the rest of the facility. This was older, reinforced, forgotten. Emergency lights flickered weakly along the walls, revealing strange markings, alien symbols fused with human engineering codes. The hatchling shifted slightly. A soft pulse escaped it, weaker than before but steady enough to guide Elias forward. Each step felt heavier as gravity became unstable again. The deeper he went, the more the station itself seemed to resist him. Metal groaned above, as if the entire structure was trying to prevent access to what lay below. Elias stopped once, leaning against the wall to catch his breath. Sweat dripped from his face, mixing with dust and blood from earlier injuries. His ribs screamed with every inhale. The hatchling made a faint sound. I know, he said softly. I feel it too. Below them, something massive moved again. Not a vibration this time. A pressure. Like the air itself was becoming aware. Elias pushed forward. The tunnel opened into a wide circular chamber. Unlike everything above, this space was not damaged. It was preserved. Perfect. Almost untouched by time or explosion. At the center stood a structure unlike anything he had ever seen. A massive crystalline core surrounded by layered containment rings, each inscribed with shifting alien geometry. The core pulsed faintly, responding to the hatchling's presence like a heartbeat finding rhythm after years of silence. Elias stepped closer slowly. This wasn't a research station, he muttered. It was a lock. The hatchling stirred more strongly now, its weak glow increasing as it reacted to the core. And then, the core responded. A deep resonance filled the chamber, not sound but feeling. Elias felt it in his bones, in his thoughts, even in the neural link. Images flooded his mind again. He saw it clearly now. The station was built around something sealed. Not a weapon. Not a machine. A dormant entity. One that did not belong to any known species or classification. And the hatchling was part of its control system. Elias stepped back slightly. You're not just a survivor, he whispered. You're part of this thing. The hatchling's eyes opened a little wider. No fear. Recognition. The core began to activate more rapidly. Light spread through the containment rings, unlocking systems that had been dormant for centuries. Far above, the station shuddered violently again. Something was breaking free. But not from the outside. From within. The neural link between Elias and the hatchling suddenly intensified. Pain surged through him, but so did understanding. He saw the truth in fragments. The explosion earlier was not random. It was a trigger. Someone, or something, had tried to erase the seal. And failed. Now the system was completing its final response. Elias clenched his teeth. So everything above was just the outer shell. The hatchling emitted a stronger pulse, this time coordinated with the core. The chamber began to light up fully, revealing pathways etched into the floor that led directly toward the crystal structure. A hidden platform rose slowly from beneath the ground. And Elias understood what it meant. Activation point. The hatchling was not dying. It was completing something. A role it was designed for. But Elias tightened his grip. No, he said firmly. Not alone. He stepped onto the platform with it. The moment he did, the chamber reacted instantly. The core flared with intense blue-white energy. The entire station above groaned in protest as containment systems across multiple layers failed at once. The massive entity below, whatever had been restrained, pressed harder against its prison. A deep voice echoed again, but now it was louder, clearer, almost aware. Final bond required. Elias staggered slightly. The hatchling weakly lifted its head toward him. For the first time, Elias realized something terrifying. This was not just about survival. It was about choice. The hatchling was linked to something ancient, something powerful enough to reshape systems above their understanding. And it was waiting for him to decide what happens next. Above them, parts of the station began collapsing into open space. Emergency alarms no longer sounded. There was no system left to warn anyone. The world outside was already breaking apart. The hatchling pressed against Elias's chest gently. A final pulse passed through the neural link. This time it carried a message. Not words, but intent. Trust. Elias looked at the rising core, then at the fragile creature in his arms. He exhaled slowly. If I let go, I don't know what happens. The core intensified again. The chamber filled with light. And somewhere deep below, something enormous shifted one final time, as if waiting for the answer that would decide whether it remained sealed, or finally woke up completely.